Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Lewi is here. This is the Health and Wellness Spot. Now, there are multiple types of hernias, but on this video, I'm going to talk about hiatal hernia. All right? So welcome and enjoy the video. Now, a lot of causes, but understand this, that we have two cavities here. We have the chest cavity or the thoracic cavity, and then we have the abdominal cavity. So these two cavities are separated by a very strong muscle that is involved in respiration, breathing. It is called the diaphragm. Now, this muscle also separates the two cavities, and when it goes flat, you breathe in. When it goes up, you breathe out. However, that is respiration, a topic for another day. So this muscle has an opening where the esophagus, this is your esophagus, joins the stomach. This is the separation. Now, this, can I call it a hole, or that entrance, or that position that the esophagus goes through the diaphragm to join the stomach is called the hiatus. All right? Now, from the word hiatus, that's where you get the hiatal hernia. So, hernia basically is this stomach, portion of it, pushing through this muscle and comes above this. So it pushes through the hiatus and then comes on top of the diaphragm. That is what we call hiatal hernia. So look at it this way. This is the normal occurrence of the stomach, but sometimes there's a lot of pressure in the abdominal cavity that causes the stomach to push itself through the hiatus in the diaphragm, and part of the stomach now comes on top of the diaphragm. This is what we call hiatal hernia. Now, there are multiple causes of this. Of course, trauma is part of that, whether physical or even sometimes chemical in terms of drugs and all that. But physical trauma can actually bring you hiatal hernia. Number two, weight, obesity. Obesity is dangerous to this because when you're obese, you're exerting a lot of pressure in the abdominal cavity, and that can actually push your stomach above or through the diaphragm. Pregnancy, as the uterus is growing because of the expanding baby, it's expanding because of the growing baby, that uterus can start putting pressure on the stomach, and that stomach can now pop up into the diaphragm, causing hiatal hernia. Also, chronic constipation. As you go to the toilet, you're constantly trying to push, and you're trying to push, you're going to develop a lot of pressure in the abdominal cavity. And then medication. Now, on medication, antidepressants are actually leading on these ones. Most people who are on antidepressants will end up having hiatal hernia. The beauty about this, or the funny part about this is, this can actually end up being unnoticed because the symptoms are just the same to the reflux disease, right? And you see, when the stomach has actually popped up, now we don't have any regulation of the stomach acid because now the sphincter is over here. All right, so that means the HCl in the stomach can actually come back and access the esophagus with a lot of ease, and that causes you the heartburn or the reflux disease. All right, so basically you simply get sometimes abdominal upset or stomach discomfort, and then the reflux, which is constant every time you have a reflux, and you go ahead and take the PPIs again and the antacids to neutralize the stomach acid, but you just don't know you might be having hiatal hernia. So most people, because the symptoms are very, very mild, they might not realize, and until when they go for a checkup and then the doctor realizes they have hiatal hernia, now they get surprised. But this is not a very serious condition unless it's bringing you a lot of problems in terms of the reflux that can actually expose you to esophageal cancer, and now it has to be corrected. But normally, it can easily correct itself. Basically, when you start losing weight and start leading a healthy life, all right, and then you fix the gut so that constipation disappears. When you drop medications like antacids, and before I even drop the medication stuff, drugs for heart conditions can actually cause you this condition. Non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, we've talked about NSAIDs multiple times, and now you see it's also part of this, right? Drugs that can actually weaken this muscle, like benzodiazepines. These people who are constantly using diazepam to sleep, and sometimes ladies who are using the mchele, all right, to actually intoxicate men through alcohol by using the benzodiazepines, can actually bring this problem also, okay? And then drugs that are abused, like cocaine is there, chemotherapy, cancer medication can cause you this problem. Antibiotics, constant use of antibiotics can actually bring this problem also, okay? So those are the causes of this. Once you understand the causes, you simply reverse the causes and this condition disappears. So most of you, when you're diagnosed with hiatal hernia, you are so much in panic start asking me, Daktari, what do I do? Is a surgery so important? And you see, most of the gastroenterologists are so quick to rush you to a surgery when you have been diagnosed with this. But the reality is, nobody wants to fix the causes. Nobody wants to tell you the truth that, you know what, your weight is wanting and you need to drop it down. Nobody wants to tell you to stop taking antidepressants because they cause you depression. So everybody is quick to tell you, you know what, you have hiatal hernia, let's take you to a surgery and try to correct this. But they've not fixed what actually caused it. So when you don't fix the cause, you expect this to come back again. That will be a serious problem. But anyway, I see most times it's managed with PPIs and antacids, basically omeprazoles, sometimes even the kits plus the antacid suspensions. But the most appropriate thing is, one, lose the weight if you're obese. Number two, if it's pregnancy, I've already told you that you have to start preparing for the pregnancy before you even get pregnant. Start eating healthy, working out, fasting, so that by the time the pregnancy is coming in, your body is able to handle it without a lot of pressure. So in the beginning, you might experience a lot of reflux, but then it disappears because your body has actually adapted to that before the pregnancy. And then when it's weird now, where symptoms are becoming every day, they are prone, and every time you're getting the symptoms, now of course, surgery comes in. But I've already told you, surgery and medication are supposed to come in as the last and second last options in therapy respectively. So fundoplication, of course, hernia repair surgeries and laparoscopic procedures can come in to rectify that. But don't wait until you get to this, because you spend a lot of money on this and the complications that are going to come with this will be severe. So if you can, start losing that weight. If you can, drop those medications, stop abusing drugs. If you can, just basically work on this. And there's another one that is actually coming in. People who have complications of feeding, people who eat satisfaction, eating frequently every time, so your stomach is always constantly filled. Overeating is actually one of the causes of hiatal hernia. Okay, so you don't just overeat just because either you fasted or because you have a complication. Fix the complication that is causing you that problem of overfeeding. All right, so this is hiatal hernia, and now you see how it causes you the reflux disease. I hope you've learned something from this.